Welcome to this tutorial on using Flash to create cartoon transitions. We'll look at 7 basic ones, including zoom, iris, push, fade, wipe, and cross dissolve. These are very similar to what would be found in a normal Saturday morning cartoon, video, or film. And transitions are used to indicate a change in time, location, or other circumstances. First, we'll look at zoom. And what I've already done is create various symbols here to be used in the demonstrations, including in this case, the trees, the rock, and the house. These movie clip symbols have been placed on named layers here, and motion tween has been applied to them. So at the beginning of this scene, you'll notice that the trees and rocks are smaller and to the size. And as we progress along, they move and enlarge. What we're doing here is providing the illusion that we're zooming in, much like as if we were walking towards this building or using a video camera to zoom in on the spot. What happens is that the objects enlarge as we move towards and move to our peripheral or to the outside. Let's add another rock to see how this works. So I'm going to select the rock 2 layer, add a new layer, name it rock 3. Bring out a movie clip rock symbol. Scale them down a little bit. Create a motion tween. And move the rock to the left and increase its size. And now we have the illusion that we're walking in towards this house. The next transition is the iris. This technique opens up to show a scene or to close down to close out the scene. We've seen this kind of technique on the old Looney Tunes opening scenes in the cartoons. To create this illusion or this transition, we first need to make a movie clip that is a black rectangle that has a circle cut in the middle. So here it is. It's just basically a shape in which you've created a round white circle you bring to the center by using the align palette and then deleting that area so we simply have this black shape that is the movie clip. That is then placed in the layer above the scene that you wish to open up and expose, or do the opposite on. A motion tween once again, in which this case the movie clip is scaled in size. So if I zoom out, we can see what's going on here. So I am zoomed out so we can barely see the small background of the scene that we want to use the iris on. So I'm going to drag out, use the align palette to center vertically and horizontally the movie clip iris here. Create a motion tween, and then either use the transform tool or go to modify, transform, scale and rotate, and put in a percentage, and it needs to be fairly large for this. So we could try 500% and enlarge this up, and you see that it's really not large enough for viewing here. So we're going to increase the size a little bit more to the point that the scene starts to be seen. And this is the action that takes place, and what we see is the iris opening up to expose the scene underneath it. The next transition is the push. Basically, it's one scene pushing another scene off the stage. So in this case, we have the one with the trees that's pushing the house off the stage and then becomes the scene that's visible. Easy to do this is you create a movie clip, that have both scenes together. That is then brought onto the stage. A motion tween is created to slide the movie clip from one side to the next. Now these are stationary images. However, movie clips could be utilized as well, in which there's action that takes place in the scene as it's actually being pushed on or pushed off the page. The next transition is the fade. This can be used to fade in or fade out of a scene. In other words, go from the scene to dark or from dark to the scene. This is simply done by creating a couple layers, one that has the scene on it and one that has a black movie clip rectangle. So create that to the size of the stage, place it on top, and once again it creates a motion tween that goes from here to here and provides the illusion that it's fading out in this case. Now the opposite would be true if we had it black over here and fade to 0% here. Remember that the opacity, or better known as the alpha level of that movie clip, can be adjusted in the Properties panel. It's found under Color Effect, Style, choose Alpha, and we can adjust the level by increasing it from 0 to 100% fully opaque down to transparent on 0. So in our movie clip, in the timeline here for the motion tween, if we have this set to 0 for the alpha level and 100%, then we have the transition from transparent to opaque, and it in this case shows the scene underneath and fully blanks it out when we get to the end, giving us the illusion of a fade. The next transition is the wipe. This can be horizontal, vertically, or even slanted. And here's an example of what it looks like. It basically reveals the second scene by wiping away the scene that was the original one. To create this transition, we're going to use a mask on a mask layer. And we can see that I've turned off and turned on the visual of this. So it's basically a movie clip rectangle again that is used as a mask and slides across the screen. And remember that a mask, the area that is the visible portion, is the one that shows what's below that, what's not being masked. So the movie clip for this was brought to the layer for a mask. Remember, control click on this, you select mask, that masks the layer directly below it. We can see that this one has the icon indicating that it's a mask, and then the layer 2 says that that layer is being masked. That's the one in which the scene is visible on. We can also check that by control clicking and going to the Properties panel, and notice that it's selected as it being masked here. Okay, so the movie clip is brought on, a motion tween is created to move that movie clip across the screen. This provides us with a wipe transition. The last transition is the cross dissolve, basically dissolving from one image into another, or from one scene to the next. And so what we have here are two layers, two different scenes, one with the trees on it and one with the houses. So if I turn off the house layer, I can reveal the layer directly below it, which has the trees on it. So what we want to do is dissolve the house layer to reveal the trees. And this is easily done by putting a movie clip, in this case for the house layer. This is a movie clip that we make a motion tween that changes its alpha level, much like we did with the fade, in this case from 100% down to 0. So if we look at the Properties panel again, we look at here, we can reveal the alpha level, and notice that it's at 100% here. When I come over to this area, it fades down to 0. Thus revealing the trees layer that's directly below.